Welcome back to episode 60 of the All Outdoors Photography Podcast. And today we're having a very talented wildlife photographer on the show.
Yes, we have Cole Waltner on the show. Welcome, Cole. Tell us more about your photography and your background and how you came to be.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. I've been listening for the show for a while, so it's quite an honor to be on. So I started taking pictures in about 2013. It's actually a pretty cool story. My best friend got deployed to Afghanistan, and when he came back in 2013 time frame, he just wasn't the same. For those that have been deployed, you kind of understand that, we see things, you do things, stuff happens over there, and sometimes it takes a little bit to adjust. And he had been taking pictures for quite a while, wildlife, landscapes, that kind of thing. And he came down to where I live to visit, and he asked if I wanted to go with him to take pictures. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I really don't have a camera or anything. And he's like, don't worry about it. Let's just go. And we went up to a place about 2 hours from my house. It's got a couple of waterfalls, and it's just a nice little 3/4 mile hike up in the mountains. And took some pictures of the waterfall, took some pictures of some birds. Turned out to be, I think, let's see, Clark's nutcracker, some magpies, maybe a hawk or two that was up there. And by the time we came back home, which, like I said, was a 2 hour drive, he had completely changed. He was back to my best friend that I've known and grown up with. He came back to the house. We hung out for a couple days. He was playing with the girls, and we were out in the yard taking pictures of the birds in the yard. And I was like, wow, if that's what taking pictures can do to somebody, I want some of that. I've been in law enforcement for almost 15 years now. And before that, I was in the military. And I've always done stuff that kind of revolves around that, shooting, tactical training, that kind of thing. So I really didn't have an outlet, to something completely different. And as soon as he left, I told my wife, I'm like, hey, I need to get a camera and a lens. And so I ended up getting a refurbished T3i. I think I had a 70-300 kit lens, and I was off and running, spending every waking moment that I wasn't at work or doing family things on YouTube, learning how to shoot and what to look for and how to do it. And I've kind of been off and running ever since.
Wow, that's
Right.
awesome. What a great story. First of all, thank you and your friend for your service and what you're doing today. That's awesome that you're able to take a break from that and find that through wildlife photography. So
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty impressive what a few days out in the mountains can do, or along the ocean, or anywhere. I mean, as long as you're out in nature and taking pictures, I'm down. It recharges the soul, the mind, everything, and it can happen quick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot more lower stress too, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no stress involved whatsoever. Well, I'll take that back. When you have a target bird or a target animal that you've spent months and months researching, and then you go to location and try to get it, there's a little bit of stress involved in that, but it's a fun stress.
Yeah, definitely. Like an adrenaline rush.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
totally.
Did you have any kind of background in like animal identification or bird identification before you went out with your friend that day?
Not really. I've grown up hunting, and I'm still an avid hunter. I love hunting. I believe that we all have to do our part, and conservation and hunters play a big part in that. But as far as like bird identification, none of it. That was kind of the catalyst to get me into the bird stuff, was that trip with my best friend up into the mountains there. And he was ratting off birds like crazy. He went to college for a biology degree, and he took a couple of ornithology classes, and he could name birds like you wouldn't believe. And I was like, man, I just used to call them little gray birds, or a hawk, or everything was a robin or a chickadee,
hmm
and once I saw that there's all these different species, like I think Montana has 436 recorded species.
Wow.
I was like, holy cow, this is something new, something I can learn, something that I'll always be learning. I'll never have it perfected. And so I just started diving into that world and learning how to ID birds. Sound, not so good yet. And like I said, I've been doing this since 2013, probably seriously since 2015. So, but visually, I'm getting fairly decent at it by now.
Right. It's like that's the great thing about birding is like you never truly get bored of it. Like there's always something new to see that may like pass through the state or, better photos maybe even of species you've already seen before. So, you're always
Oh,
learning as you go along too.
Totally. And I have bird feeders set up and perches set up right outside of my window. And I've got the window so there's no screen on it and I can open it up. And I'm always checking, always looking, taking different pictures in different light and different perches, different behaviors. I mean, yeah, it's a never ending game. And that's what's so fun about it, especially the bird photography. I love wildlife photography, landscape photography, but the bird photography is just it's something new every minute. It can be something new. So it's
Yeah,
pretty
100.
impressive.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.